Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So today we're gonna... Hey yo, hey, you that frog guy, right? Hey man, can you stop just coming in unannounced?
Hey, yo,
I live here
you got
and
a small ass room in here, man. I don't know what do you film all your videos in here?
like once in a while is okay, but you can't keep coming to my house like this.
I hear you. Yo,
know?
okay, I do have a question though. I have a question for you. Can you do that for me? Can you just answer a question?
I don't know. You
okay, bro.
do
So
not
like,
live here.
how often do I gotta
me.
feed my frog? And like, can I feed him crickets? You know, I don't know the answers to this. And you know, I like you. You're a good YouTuber. I like your videos, and you know, I thought maybe you could help me out with this.
Into my house and ask me stupid questions whenever you want. And like you don't even need me for that. You can literally go into Google for 5 seconds and just Google any of that. Like you're able to do that. You understand me? Okay, so can you please just leave?
No
please.
problem, bro. I'm out of here.
Please.
Check this out. Peace
Okay.
out.
Alright, hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for bearing with me through that skit. I mean, guy intruding upon my house. Been thinking a bit because I've been wanting to do another frog video, but I wasn't entirely sure how. It's no secret that we all love frogs, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, what can I do? Should I make an updated version of a care guide? Probably not, because that's kind of, you know, like, I already did that. As much as I'd love to update that care video, that video's good, got a lot of views, grew my channel a lot, and we'll just call it that. iPad, what are you doing here? Maybe I'll do a frog TikTok video where I go over frog TikToks. Maybe I'll do a frog meme video where I just look at various frog memes on Facebook, Instagram. Maybe I'll do a video where I go out and catch frogs. Well, I tried that. It's kind of difficult. Maybe I'll do just another video about my frogs. But then it hit me. It hit me. I started with a question, why do people like frogs? And I tried to think of video ideas that branched out from there. But what I didn't realize, that's the idea. Why do all of you weirdos, myself included, okay? Why do we like frogs? I don't know. It's strange. I mulled this over quite a bit. I don't think it's that overly complicated. What is interesting though, are frogs are this sort of iconic animal that both the sheesh like dudes like online, like I know there's some of you that watch my videos and you would probably identify as a sheesh guy. It's like people like that, and then also just like chronically online cottagecore people, that kind of stuff, love that, and the queer community as well. What do all of those things have in common? Not a whole lot. Really not a whole lot. Why do they all gravitate towards the same frog despite being such different groups? And I mean, the easy answer is that frogs are cute and funny, and they're kind of weird, right? So many of us like to feel like we're in on something cool. I like to think about dogs, for example. Like, everyone loves dogs, but I would say that like the dog community is far too large, broad, and like far-reaching to have any sort of strong sense of community. You know what I'm saying? But with frogs, it's different because there's a tighter sense of community with such a broad group of people. And I think a lot of the people in the frog community, at least the very online frog community, I don't really count the whole poison dart frog, bioactive frog community. I think that's kind of a different thing. Or maybe the government programmed us to like frogs. Maybe it's some sort of deep state conspiracy theory where they're trying to put chemicals in our water to wipe out the human race because we like to identify with frogs as these queer icons. And I don't know. I don't think that's true. So I found 2 articles actually that try to explain why people love frogs so much. One is from Nylon. The other is from Insider. So we're gonna read both those articles and just see. But first, if you're liking the video so far, or you like my energy, whatever, you should consider liking it, because it helps me out a lot. You should also consider subscribing as well. But anyway, let's read the first article. All right, so right off the bat here, we got some Kermit, we got Dat Boy, and we got Pepe. Be careful though, because Pepe got appropriated into a symbol of the alt-right, which I am still just so disheartened about. Pepe was turned into a symbol of hate for basically just no reason. I'm still gonna find Pepe funny, but just know I denounce all of your cringe alt-right stuff, so. Every meme has an expiration date, but there's one genre that continues to stand the test of time: frog memes. It was easy for inhabitants of the internet to become enthralled by Pepe the Frog, but even with the variety of forms that he has evolved into, Beyonce, The Weeknd, Lana Del Rey, and tons of merchandise covered in his little stoned froggy face, there's still not enough Pepe in this world. Fast forward to today and everyone is caught up with Dat Boy, a multi-dimensional frog riding a unicycle straight into our hearts. When was this written? I have no idea, because this is super dated. June 30th, 2016. Okay, so it's not the new, this article is 5 years old, basically. So I'll forgive some of the datedness of it. I guess this is sort of pre-frog explosion. I think that sort of started happening in 2017, 2018, more so 2018, but we'll give this article a read. Fury, I guess someone she was referencing, points to the non-threatening and chill nature of frogs to explain why people were drawn to these green creatures. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty true. Do you like frogs because they're not? I personally like frogs because they're threatening and violent. They enjoy hopping around, swimming, relaxing, and eating insects. People enjoy hopping around, swimming, and relaxing, but just a small percentage of people enjoy insects. Wow, that is some critical analysis right there. Perhaps the trend is preparing our collective selves for a time when eating bugs is more commonplace in the near future. Insects are a great source of protein and can be harvested with far less consequences to the environment with beef, chicken, and dairy. You guys heard it here, folks. The reason why frogs are so popular is because there's actually an imminent dystopian apocalypse looming just on the horizon. January 2022, y'all aren't ready for it because all these frogs that we've been keeping, all these frogs, Facebook groups, and YouTube channels that we've been following, it's just been preparing us for what's to come, which is the frog apocalypse, of course. When our new amphibious overlords decide to take charge, make bugs a primary staple in our diet. And not for any malevolence. In fact, these frogs, their goal is environmentalism. On average, right, insect protein is much better for the environment than like most other large animal protein. It saves water, it saves space, you can grow them vertically, it's just awesome. So I, for one, welcome our new frog overlords. That being said, there's not a whole lot here that I think that we can really learn about frogs because this was written in 2016. The second article I have here was written in June of 2020, so that's mid-pandemic, right? So this is a little bit more updated and a little bit more new. This one's from Insider. The title of the article is "Frogs Are in an Internet Golden Age, How the Animals Once Grouped with an Online Hate Symbol Turned Wholesome." Should be a good read. I became hooked on frogs when a particular frog video landed on my Twitter feed sometime last fall. Wholesome, filled with warm light, and set to the Great Fairy Fountain track from the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time soundtrack. Its main draw was footage of two different frogs just chillin', sitting like humans on benches. At one point, someone shook the frog's hand. I couldn't look away. Me too, Palmer. I want to read this in the tone of someone who's like slowly losing their mind and like their mental fortitude is just breaking away ever so slightly with each passing frog piece of media that enters their feed.
Little did I know at the time this frog video was only the beginning of what would become a surplus of frog content on all my social media feeds. From Twitter to Tumblr to Instagram to TikTok. Suddenly it felt like frogs were everywhere, wearing cute cowboy hats printed on their pastel hoodies, and softly attempting to eat human bugs.
Falling into a personal frog filter bubble wouldn't be much of a surprise, but multiple platforms confirmed to Insider that frogs indeed are seeing a sort of resurgence. That's pretty self-explanatory if you're participating in this community, but it's really genuinely interesting how many people that weren't already involved in reptiles have just sort of been lured into frog culture. And I've covered this a couple times in previous videos. And I'm sure a lot of you in the audience are those people. You came for frogs, you stayed for how amazingly charismatic I am. Originally, frogs, they were just something that was part of the reptile community, like lizards, snakes, turtles, tortoises, etc. But now it's got this explosive mainstream appeal. In May, the tag frogcore had seen a 220% increase over a period of 3 months. And the tag froggy saw a 567% increase in original posts at the same time frame. You can see quantitative growth about how popular frogs have become in the last few years. Oh, here's one. On Facebook, groups like Frog Spotting have thousands of members. I'm actually a part of Frog Spotting, and a lot of you probably don't use Facebook, but I would 100% recommend you guys getting on Facebook. Just make a fake name, whatever, and start joining Facebook groups. Facebook groups are so funny. It feels more intimate because the group is closed rather than public, or at least a lot of the groups are. So frog spotting was one of the first groups I joined back in like 2016. Yeah, go to Facebook for some frog memes. Maybe I'll do a video about Facebook and frogs soon. Today, frog content tends to feature real frogs, cute illustrations, queer positive content, and plenty of funny shit posts. Say it with your gut, Palmer, come on. One of the points that this article makes that I really like is its distinction between the popularity of frogs past and frogs now. Frogs previously in pop culture have enjoyed a meme half-life that's simply just one-off character things like Dat Boy, like Lipton Tea Kermit, or to an extent like Pepe, even though there's hundreds of thousands of Pepes out there. But now it's like instead of just specific one-off pictures or images of frogs, people just like frogs in general. It's no longer just 1, 2, 3, or even 20 memes. It's just any pictures of any frog people just seem to be into. Brennan said that she sees frogcore, a term referring to a frog-focused aesthetic, as lying at the intersection of the utopic cottagecore aesthetic and the down and dirty goblin core. Because that's very popular in online communities, especially now, is like the intersection of this sort of nice and pretty aesthetic with this sort of down and dirty aesthetic. It reminds me a lot of scene culture from like the early 2000s and mid 2000s, like raw Rainbow Kitty and like that kind of stuff, where it's like you're taking a lot of these elements that are very prevalent in the scene and in like goth aesthetics, and you're mixing it with like very bright colors and things that are generally considered not edgy or threatening, like cats, unicorns, the color pink, neon blue, that kind of stuff. I find that frog culture is very simplified and easier to digest sort of evolution of that aesthetic, and I find that really interesting. This is the last part that I want to cover, is this heading in the article. Frog content also significantly intersects with LGBTQ plus spaces online. I've never really understood this. Let's read what Palmer has to say. One of the most prominent undercurrents connecting frog content together is the fact that it seems to resonate with queer people. It's difficult to pin down exactly why, but the idea of gay frogs isn't new. In 2017, noted conspiracy theorist Alex Jones went viral after claiming the government was putting chemicals in the water that would turn the friggin' frogs gay. His idea was certainly based in homophobia, but for many, gay frogs sounded like a great idea, and the phrases continued to show up in post captions or even cute merch. A lot of you guys probably know this already. So what Alex Jones was saying when he said they're putting chemicals in the water that turns frogs gay is like obviously very incorrect, because they're not doing that, but what he's trying to reference is, again, I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure this is it. There were like certain chemicals that were put in like irrigation that would run off from the crops and pollute nearby freshwater streams. And what these chemicals would do is they would hermaphrodize the frogs living there, so they couldn't really reproduce. These frogs who were biologically male ended up flipping female, hence they couldn't reproduce, leading to some species die-outs. So, trans frogs? I'm down with it, but also it sucks that they're kind of losing their habitat because of it. When I asked Maya about why she thinks queer people are into frogs, she brought up the heteronormative conceptualization of the American family: a mom, dad, a couple of kids, and a golden retriever. Frogs lay outside of that framework as a kind of alternate companion, allowing for self-expression. So this is what I was getting at earlier. See, I didn't even read this article, but he touched down right on that point. We like enjoying frogs because a lot of us who are part of other sub-communities that enjoy frogs feel like they're kind of not necessarily marginalized, but exist outside of like the norm of society. You know, we're not like the other girls here on this channel. My favorite line: it definitely feels like there's safety in the frog. Frog does its thing, and frogs being left alone, and it's a thing people wish they could have as well. Honestly.
Facts.
Wow, that was actually a pretty good article. If you guys want links to either of these articles, are down in the description down below, so you should definitely check them out. So anyway, thanks for watching. Find safety in the frog. Please subscribe to my channel, or I'm going to send you to Laos.